and welcome back to the show. Today we're going to be talking about CFOs and startup businesses in general, and how do you get involved in starting up a company properly with proper financial support. And we have a special guest today, John Lafferty. He runs a company called CFO Pro, and his business is specializing in essentially fractional CFO services. Well, John, thanks very much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, Kersten.
Well, today we're going to be talking about this whole idea of outsourcing a CFO. And first of all, John, give us a little background about your business. First of all, how did you get into this business? And did you always kind of want to be a CFO? Give our audience a little bit more information on what you're about.
I started my career in public accounting with Arthur Andersen. I had no idea that I would eventually be a CFO type. But after a number of years there, I went into venture capital, which at the time was the largest institutional VC firm in the country. And after several years there, I decided to peel off into industry and be the financial guy, and was in a number of privately held enterprises. I also had the opportunity to run some businesses during that time. And eventually it became pretty clear to me that the hours I was putting in on a salaried basis were it was too much. So I thought, why don't I go out on my own, do what I knew how to do best, and provide financial management services to business owners. So that's what I've done.
Well, it's interesting because, a lot of companies that go out and they'll hire a mediocre CFO and they'll pay them full time, and they really don't need that. They need somebody focused on the most important things. Maybe you can give our audience a few tips on what's there to be appreciated when it comes to high quality CFO services, and how can a fractional CFO person like yourself really get a company properly on track?
Kersten, I'm going in and focusing on what is bothering that business owner. What does he feel his key issues are on the financial side of the business? One of the things that they don't pay any attention to is break-even sales. They don't know at what point do I have enough sales to cover all of my expenses. Beyond that, then that becomes profits. But they don't understand the formula nor how to calculate it. That's something I can help them with in a matter of minutes, because when I look at their P&L statement, I can quickly see that there may be some line items in there that are misclassified. They either need to be above what they call the line or below the line. That's the gross profit line. So once they've understood that, then I say, well, let's assume you wanted to spend $10,000 on a marketing initiative. The same formula is going to answer the question, how much in sales do I have to generate to cover that cost? Another item that I look at real quickly is to see how high their receivables are, how many days sales are in the accounts receivable, and also in accounts payable. The larger that gap is, the tighter their cash flow is. If they're collecting receivables in 70 days and paying vendors in 30, that's a wide gap. And so I encourage them to chase those receivables, get that down to 45 days, stretch your vendors a little, maybe up to 40 days. And there's one other item that I point out, and the way I approach it is let's assume you can improve your margin by 1%. And if you got $10 million in annual sales, that 1% is worth $100,000. You improve that margin by 1%, that's $100,000 to your bottom line. Maybe you don't need it in the business, so you take it out and invest it elsewhere. That's a key thing to begin to understand in terms of watching your margins. Manage them and know what it really means to you.
Well, a lot of experience, 17 years of experience in the business. Maybe just in closing here, you can give our audience sort of the biggest thing you've learned over your years of experience that could benefit a business.
When you first go into a situation, you want to get acquainted with the owner to see if you can really work together. And what you're trying to establish is a trust factor. And I believe that any professional needs to do or deliver on what he says he's going to do. Don't waver from that, or at least make the client aware of what the problems are going to be. And I start with asking a lot of questions. And I sit back and listen carefully, and I keep quiet. When they're done talking, then I can ask another question.
Well, it's the art of listening, isn't it? Well, John, great having
Yes.
you on the show. Thanks very much for sharing a lot of your experience with us today.
Thank you, Kersten.
Check out the website at cfopro.com. Once again, thanks very much for joining us. Stay tuned again real soon, and we'll get John on the show again real soon. Take care. Bye for now.